Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
From the Fifth Quarter Studio in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to the Coaching Youth Hoops Podcast.
They're playing basketball.
Here's our hosts, Steve Collins, and Bill Flitter.
Hey everybody, welcome. We're so excited you decided to join us today. Before we jump in, I'd like to give a big shout out to our two sponsors. Excuse me. First of all, Dr. Dish, the #1 shooting machine on the market, not only innovative in technology and customer service and so easy to set up and use. I think a 5-year-old could do it. I would not recommend it. It's not super safe, but it is a safe machine, but I wouldn't have a 5-year-old using it. I don't think they could get it over the net. Mention Coach Unplugged and they could give you $400 off. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. I started teachhoops.com because I was a high school coach. I wish this had been out there for me. You know, I've won at the highest level. We've won multiple state titles. We've been nationally ranked. But I wanted to share things that I thought would be helpful for a high school basketball coach or youth basketball coach, a college basketball coach. And that's why I started teachhoops.com, to make you a better basketball coach. And that's why we do one-on-one calls and office hours, and why I give a 14-day free trial, because I want to help you. And if you only need 14 days, go kick the tires. Maybe that's all you need. But anyway, go over and check it out, and let's head off to the podcast. All right, welcome to Coaching Youth Hoops, episode Lucky 13.
Lucky 13, yeah.
July 5th. Happy birthday, bro. It's my brother's birthday. July 5th is my brother's birthday. So he is 59. So happy birthday, bro.
Older brother.
Older brother.
Make sure we're clear on that.
Older brother. Yes, yes. He's got 2 Ivy League degrees. So he's got his undergrad from Dartmouth and his MBA from Harvard. So I'm the dumb one in the family.
The black sheep.
I'm the black sheep. I just got 1 Ivy League degree. I'm the dumb one. Yeah.
But how many state titles does he have?
None.
So
he does run the 3rd most active venture capital company in the world. It's called AVG. AVG. It's Alumni Venture Capital or something. Anyway, if you look it up, if you are that person, you're listening to this podcast,
a coach and a business person looking to.
Yes. Well, it's a diversification, because like his theory is like when you get so much money, then you have to diversify. You have to buy art. You have to buy real estate. Venture capital should be part of your portfolio when you get enough money. That's kind of his niche. So
I was the other way, living out in Silicon Valley, right? I did a lot of startups. We would go to the guys like your brother to say, "Hey, let me pitch my idea."
You would, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime I see something, I always send it to him. I go, "Have you heard?" Like the newest one is like you can buy a piece of a Picasso. Have you seen this one?
Yeah.
Like marketplace. So I already sent it. He goes, "Oh, I ever heard about that one." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because he bought into Picasso. Have you heard about Picasso? He bought a place in somewhere out west, like 1/8 of a share of Picasso, one of those places in Picasso. The real estate thing. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
So, but I think his
that,
VC company actually got into that. Like, I think that was part of their one of their things. But it's interesting. So let me again, hey, coaches, it's not only about coaching youth hoops, it's about everything. It's what it is it's not a timeshare. They buy like places like on Malibu or places in like Florida, and then maybe they spend $5 million and then they break it up into shares, like 10 shares, and then you can buy a share of it, and then you get 5-6 weeks a year. That's what it is, people, if you're knowing. Yeah. So no one needs to own a place in Malibu, I guess, unless you're Tom Cruise.
Speaking of Tom Cruise, and then this is coming out later, but did you see new Top Gun movie yet?
I haven't. I heard it's good, though.
It's good.
Is it good?
It's good. It was good. I mean, as my wife says, we were leaving the theater, and she says, "Didn't that bring you back to 1986?"
I know. That's why my wife and I got to go.
And I'm like, yeah, it really did. It was just like very nostalgic, and anyway, we're getting into it, but it was a good movie. It was a good movie.
All right, what's today's episode?
Okay, I love this topic, and the reason why is it's been a passion project of mine. So, in preparation to launching basketball practice plans, right? .com, by the way,
right?
Go sign up for the waiting list. I was like, what is the perfect practice? What does it look like, right? And so I've done a lot of research lately on it. And the other reason it came up was I always got complimented on my practice plans. Coaches always would kind of laugh because I would come in with a detailed practice plan, even with my third grade kids, right? All the way through high school, right? Every 5 minutes there's something new. It's all structured, new practice every day, right? And I thought I was doing a pretty good job. So then last year, talking to my coaches, and they're like, it was good. I'm like, no, this is great.
Right.
And they're like, no, this is what I think we should do. We should add to it. And I was, love my coaches. I was I was sad because here I thought I
spent all this
really
time
practice plan. Right.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, challenge accepted. Right. What is the perfect practice plan? So
or what's the perfect practice plan structure is what you're talking about. Right?
Structure. Structure. Because one of the things that I was struggling with as I was doing my practice plan is, you have your offense, you have your defense, skill work block. So then I thought, okay, I need a better structure. That's just the way my brain works. And so I started doing all this research. So I apologize to the person who the idea this wasn't my idea.
Right.
And I don't remember the name and I didn't write it down. But he broke the game down into, I think it was the G League coach for the Boston Celtics, mentioned the game breaks down to 4 components. So then I thought, oh, okay, and we'll talk about those 4 components. That's how I structured my practice plan. But then within that, there's details. Okay, so here we go. 4 components. Transition to defense. This is the 4 components of a game. Transition to offense and offense. So those are the 4 components of the game. And I thought, well, we have to learn some skills in all those 4 areas. So let's fill in the blanks from there. Okay. And then skill work on top, it would be the kind of the 5th thing. So then what I did is I created this practice template that broke that into those 5 components really. It's actually a little bit more, but we'll go into the details. So, but basically, and I broke it up into quote unquote quarters. So skill work is quarter 1.
That you stole from me because it's like I sometimes run practice like a game.
Yes, I did steal. That's right. I did steal that from you.
That was me. I'll take credit for that one because I run practice that way. I run it like a game. Pre-game, we run halves, but first quarter, break, discussion, second quarter, longer discussion, halftime, some skill work, blah, blah, blah. You break it up to like a game.
Yeah, you're breaking a game because that's
a rhythm. Yeah,
that's right. So start with skill work, and then that's followed by your most important thing for you. And that of the 4 components that I listed. So in our case, I'm a big defensive guy, so defense. So quarter 1, skill work, quarter 2, defense. Now you're at halftime. So you got your first half of your practice. That's your first half of your practice. Then it goes into, then it doesn't matter from there what you want to focus on, but you got to do your transition to defense. and then your transition to offense. And sometimes I do the transition to defense and defense itself in that second quarter. And then you end with your offense, and then competition or some sort. Okay. And special teams, anything like that kind of fits in that last half. So again, your skill work, your most important next thing, that should occupy your first half, and then everything else your second half. That's the way I thought about it, right?
Okay.
So your offense, your defense, your offense in our case, our like special teams, blobs, slobs, press break, and then competition. Okay. And then from there, what I did is this you'll see this because you'll have to tell me, give me some feedback once you see it. But then it breaks up into teach, train, or compete. Okay, so let's talk about skill work. So imagine you're let's say you're teaching them the drop step. Okay, these kids never learned the drop step, so that's teach. So you just do. I have it. I put down. It's a drop down menu on my spreadsheet. Teach. Okay. Yeah. But so I know I'm teaching this skill.
Right.
Okay. Now tomorrow when I come back and we do that same thing.
Halliday presents in the red corner the undisputed, undefeated weed whacker guy, champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
It goes from teach to train. They're spending more time on the training aspect because I taught it yesterday. Right. Now they come back and train.
Yep.
Right. And then maybe the third day they come back and it says compete as how that thing is categorized. So
you don't compete on that skill right away.
No, we do. So I'm going to get into that next. Okay. So yeah, it goes teach, train, compete for the skill. And that's more of a note for me and what I'm doing at that moment. So then we go back, then we do train, compete. So it's train, the kids work on that individual skill and they're doing it kind of on their own or maybe with a partner. And then we go into compete mode on that particular skill. So we might do a small-sided game that focuses on that particular skill and they're competing.
Okay.
Right. So
yeah. Well, the competition part is like the reason I asked that question is that's part of I believe a master class or a master practice is the competitive part. Especially teaching high school boys, it's like I got to make as many things as competitive as possible. Right. And it again depends on the level that you're doing it, but I think it makes it more fun then too.
It does, and the kids like that, right? They just don't want to hear us talking all the time. And I would, another part that we didn't talk about here either. It's not just the structure, but you and we talk too much, and I know you've talked about this in previous podcasts too, right? It's just keep the skill that you're teaching in, say three things. Like I'll give you an example. I wrote this one down too because I think it's so in the teach phase, right? If I'm teaching a new skill, let's say that skill is our offense. Now, offense can get pretty complicated, right?
And especially initially, if you're teaching a new offense, you gotta talk a lot, and it's hard. Right. Like it's I'm hard. Lecturing. It is like it's too much.
So then I break it up. So kids were learning a new offense. What is it? Well, what the goal of it is this. We want to create big advantage shots. Well, what are big advantage shots? We want to get to the free throw line, right? We want to get a three, and then we want to get into the key. So frees, threes, and keys, right? So make it kind of fun and a rhyme and something. Yep. Okay, we want a free throw. We want to shoot a drive and kick three, ideally. Now, obviously, if they're third grade, you're not going to do that, right? You tweak that. Maybe it's just freeze and you get into the key to score. Okay, so boom. Okay, all right. Well, great. Well, how do we create those opportunities? right? So then we just kind of break it down. Okay, so now how do you create those opportunities? So we're going to remember we're learning the new offense. Keep the ball moving. Don't hold on to it for more than 1 second. Now we kind of do a cougar count because we're the Cougars. So it's like 1 cougar, 2 cougars. I got to do something. I got to break that 3-point line. At that point, I either got to pass or I got to drive, right? Or I got to shoot.
Yep.
And then spacing is always hard for kids. Well, what's proper spacing? 2 people away. Well, what does that mean, right?
Right.
So it's like get to a space where 1 person can't guard 2 of you. If 1 person can easily guard 2 of you, then move to a different. You got to move, right?
Right.
And then this idea of, we always say cutting hard. It's still a difficult, like what does cutting hard mean, right? We get into space and then out of space. So once you break the 3-point line, get into space, right, downhill to the basket or to the paint, and then out as quickly as you can so the next person can make a play or pass out. Or if you didn't get a shot opportunity, pass out and get out of the key so the next person can try to make a play. So don't get caught up in what the words were necessarily, but it's this idea of, okay, I just taught you an offense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the offense. So then we practice that. Okay. Steve, you're holding on to the ball too long. Like as soon as you grab the ball, 1 cougar, 2 cougar, and then they got to do something, right?
Why do you think they hold on to the ball too much? On a side note,
because they're thinking too much, and there's too much. There's too much, right? God, do I pass? Do I shoot? What do I do in this situation?
It's reaction. It's teaching them, and that's where you're trying to teach them.
That's right.
It's got to be non-thought things. It's got to be a quick reaction.
Mm-hmm. And what I always say too, it's like we are a drive first offense. Okay, so that might be another thing we're a drive first offense. So as soon as you ball get the drop, try to drive. Oh, you know what? You got stopped. Okay.
Right.
Then now you got stopped. Now what are your options? I can shoot or I can pass out because I can't drive anymore. There you go. Boom. At least I rip and I go and I'm gone.
Right.
Right. If you're a drive first offense, and then you have your different philosophies. But does that make sense?
It does. I love that. I mean, I think, and for all the youth coaches listening, I think that's part of the process. What we're trying to do is teach you how to set up a lesson plan for you. There's no perfect way. Coach and I are not going to do lesson plans exactly the same. We're going to have some structures that are going to be similar, but that's where I think even as a youth coach, you have to think about think about your audience, think about how you're going to, teach it, how you're going to train it, how you're going to be competitive in it. Maybe you only have them twice a week. So what are what are the master things in that structure? Because you do have to teach, you do have to train, you do have to compete and practice, but how, you only see them for 3 hours a week. So what are the things that are most important for their development as a basketball player and a person to teach? Yep. And then you can worry about the train and maybe you can send some stuff home to train. Maybe hey, go home this week. This is what you're going to do in your driveway before we see you again, blah, blah, blah. But I think I love how you've broken that down into those nuances, Coach.
Yeah. And I think it's just important from a structure standpoint. Obviously we talk about always being prepared going into practice. And I think one last point, is if they're not getting it, stop, don't continue. Don't add, don't 15 more minutes, right? They're still not going to get it. That's on you. Right. So just cut it off.
Yep.
Be done with it. Go back and evaluate and say, okay, maybe it's me. I need to teach this differently. They're just not grasping. Maybe it's too high level and you need to break it down into small little pieces because they're just not getting the concept, right? And that's kind of the idea of how I explained that offensive set. It's like, okay, I didn't tell them you got to go screen here and you go do this and you go do that. It's like, give them 3 rules, 3 things to start with. And then next week come back, or the next practice come back, maybe with a little something, okay, now we're going to set a screen.
Right.
Every time you cut, you got to set a screen or something. Right.
And I think on the drive home or when you're after the practice, take some time and self-evaluate too about what Coach is just saying, that didn't work. Well, why didn't it work? So, that drive home, that's what I used to do, especially if we're coming from a tournament or something. it'd be like, oh crud, we didn't. So what do I have to think about leading into the next lesson? It's the same thing with the teacher. It's like sometimes first hour I bomb it, but by fourth hour I figured it out because yeah, it's like you always want to have a teacher at the second time they teach something in a day, because the first time is not as good as, because you evaluate and you pivot and you do new things that second time, but then by the third or fourth time the teachers forget what they done. It's like, so the second period is always the best from that. But from you as a youth coach, think about it, evaluate it on that drive home, I think. All right, anything else, Coach?
No, I think that's it. So just have a plan, go in with a plan, get it structured. If you guys have questions, obviously reach out to us. Happy to help.
And then we'll put the Facebook group down below. And I love the teach, train, compete. It goes into your ABCs a little bit, Coach.
Yeah, I know.
A little bit. All right. Till next week.
That book soon.
In the book soon. Yes.
Yeah. This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.